Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Esq, the inventress. My business is Inventing A to Z. At Inventing A to Z, I work with clients to take their products from concept to fruition, from a napkin idea all the way to the marketplace and everything in between, the right way. If you want to contact me, email me, lisa@inventingatoz.com. My website, inventingatoz.com. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Esq, the inventress. Welcome to my podcast. Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa Esq, the inventress. Welcome to the Inventress Podcast. So this afternoon, I'm elated because I have a very good friend of mine and my patent attorney on our podcast today. I have good friend Richard Gearhart, CEO and founder of Gearhart Law. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Oh, my God.
So great to connect with you. You know, you're always such a delight, and you've helped so many people. And we've known each other for years now, and I just love working with you. So I can't tell you how many of our clients have gone to work with you, and you always get rave reviews. So thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that, Richard. And the feeling is 100% mutual. You know that every single one of my clients who have an idea, who need some protection, patent protection, I send them directly to you all the time, and they actually have rave reviews about you, your team. It's a match made in heaven. I love us. I love all of us, from Elizabeth to James, and everybody in your office is just remarkable. And first and foremost, you're people we can trust, and that is the whole the fear behind putting a product on the market and just being able to protect it. And you're my go-to people. You know that.
Well, thank you very much. And, our both of us, our hearts are with entrepreneurs, right? So
yes.
That's what our businesses are about, and those are the people that we want to support. There's not a better feeling in the world than seeing somebody's project take off, and end up on QVC out there in the world. So it's very satisfying for us.
It is, and it is. Yeah, to collectively, I think that we have that same heart, as you said. So, Richard, I'm going to ask you some questions that I already know, but I think that the listeners will certainly want to know. I guess the number one question is, when should they patent their product?
Well, that is a great question, and as your listeners probably know, patents cover inventions, trademarks protect brands, and copyrights protect works of expression, right? And so what we're talking about now are patents protecting, products, consumer products. We can protect software products like apps. We can protect medical products. So if you have a vitamin formula, for example, that you would want to protect, we can do that. And really, the time to start thinking about intellectual property is when you have a proof of concept, when you know that what you have, the product that you have, is going to work. So sometimes that involves having a prototype. Sometimes it's just a concept. But at some stage in the process, you have to do a search, whether it's a trademark or a patent. You have to know if somebody else has already filed a piece of intellectual property on your idea. And that's for two reasons. One, you want to know if it's protectable, if the patent office will issue a patent or trademark on your idea or your brand. And secondly, to make sure that somebody else doesn't have a patent or trademark that can block you. So it's very important that at a fairly early stage, once you've made a decision that you're going to move forward with the commercialization process, that you check and make sure that you're free to operate and that also your project is protectable.
I love your answer, and it is the most asked question for people who come to me, Richard. I mean, I'm going to say 95% of the people who come to me in my consultations will say, I have a product and I need it patented. I need a patent right now. And I'm glad to be able to give them some information, pass them along to you, because I mean, some people come without anything on paper, or just a concept. So I love your response, because that's what I always say. Have some proof of concept, have something drawn out, and most importantly, know that the product works. And can you answer the reason why they need to have something that works before they put a patent on patent product?
Well, it's usually, I mean, it's for business reasons, right? So, you know, intellectual property is not cheap, right? Mm-hmm. So, trademarks are less expensive than patents, but once you start down the patent road, you're going to be putting in, really, no matter who you use, if you work with a professional, you're going to be putting in, at least $10,000, mm-hmm. and if it's a utility patent, and at least $2,000 if it's a design patent, and for trademarks, it's a couple $1,000s, right? Mm-hmm. So before you make that investment, you want to make sure that it's available, but you also want to be confident that you're going to be moving forward with the project. And usually we start with a search first, which is considerably less expensive, mm-hmm. And just to see what's out there. And it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense to spend money on something that's been protected by somebody else. Mm-hmm. And so you want to either do you could certainly do a product search on the internet before you start to see if anybody else is selling it. If you're pretty good with technology and products, you can also search at the USPTO, mm-hmm. but the website is pretty clumsy. But when it comes time to really move forward, you really need to get a professional involved, mm-hmm. Because this is what we do. We've spent years and years and years studying patents, pushing them through the patent office. The same thing with trademarks. There's a lot of subtleties. There's a lot of rules, and it's really best to make sure that your patent is going to be solid and done by experienced firm. So.
And I so agree with that, Richard. I mean, there's so many things that I can do myself, and we could probably all do, some research and read. There's a lot of reading involved and a lot of research. And, as a non-professional or as a novice in the industry, not being in the industry, there's a lot you can miss. And so I always say, give it to the professionals. Give it to Richard Gearhart.
Well, I usually explain it to clients this way. It's mm-hmm. like the less you spend, the higher the risk you take. So if you do your own patent search, you might not find anything, but lots of times we find things that people don't find mm-hmm. when they do their own patent search. You can write your own provisional application, and you can file that yourself, and all you have to do is pay the government fee. And you can go to the USPTO and talk with the professionals, the professionals there. They can help you. But there's a whole complicated legal regime behind patents and trademarks. Mm-hmm. And so, like you just said, if you can miss things, and that's why at some point you have to get a professional involved, mm-hmm. because there's a lot of jargon, there's a lot of law, and unless you deal with it every day, it's you're taking a larger risk if you don't get a professional involved.
And time, lots of time, Richard.
And time. And if you think your business is going to make $500,000 a year, it's probably good to get intellectual property protection. If you think your business is going to make $10,000 a year, you probably don't need it, mm-hmm. right? But you're not in it to make $10,000 a year.
Right.
You're in it to make a $500,000 or $1 million or more, right? And that $15,000 can protect your market of $500,000 a year, mm-hmm. And keep competitors out, or at least slow them down. And so it becomes an investment in the future. And so that's why intellectual property is useful. So.
Thank you for that, Richard. So I want to go back and talk about provisional patents. The listener doesn't necessarily understand what. So can you explain the difference between a provisional patent, which you're saying they could do it themselves? It's pretty basic to do. But so can you just expound upon that a little bit?
Sure. So provisional patents were actually created by the U.S. patent system back in the 90s. And before then, there were only utility patents. And so every patent has certain legal requirements that it has to meet in order for it to be a utility patent. And but a provisional doesn't have to meet all of those requirements. So it essentially allows an inventor who might want to try filing the application themselves to write up a few paragraphs and put in a few drawings and file it as a provisional patent. And it doesn't need to have claims. It doesn't need to have numbered drawings. It doesn't need to have all of the other things that are required for a utility patent. And based on that, you get a patent pending and you get a serial number. And then you have a year to convert the provisional to a utility patent, right? So by the time you do that conversion, then at that point, the application has to be written, preferably by a professional, so that it meets all of the legal requirements of a utility application. So you do get some protection by filing the provisional patent. You can do it yourself, so it's economical. But within a year, you will eventually have to have a full patent application. And as I've said, that's usually better done by a professional. Now, the one important thing that people should remember about provisional applications is you only get credit for what you write and submit to the patent office. And so the value of a patent is in the variations that it protects. So if I were going to, say, protect my office desk, I would file a patent with a round top, square top, rectangular top. I would cover different materials, wood, plastic, metal, with or without drawers, 5 legs, 6 legs. I would protect the concept of a desk. And so the process of drafting a patent is the process of figuring out all of those different variations and incorporating it into the patent, which is part of the reason why they're expensive. It takes a lot of time and skill and experience to figure out what variations can be put in the patent. And so lots of times when people file their own provisional patents, they just describe what they have. And so you're always taking a risk that somebody sees your product somehow, some way, and they make a change to it, and then they start, producing it, and your patent doesn't protect them. So many of our inventors decide to file a provisional application that's a complete patent application. It meets all the requirements, and they file it that way, and then they can make changes to it if a designer gets involved, if they need to add a page of drawings or some text. But there's different ways to go, and we work with people regardless of their budget. We can help with the process. If they want to do the write-up, we can file it for them. It's important to monitor the deadlines and we have a system that keeps track of the deadlines so that you don't miss a critical deadline. And so that's part of the value of getting a professional firm involved is the whole process of just monitoring it, reminding you that it's coming up.
And that's invaluable. That's invaluable, Richard. And is that one day? It's 1 year to the date, correct? So if I filed a provisional patent today, do I have 1 year to the day to?
Yes.
Okay. So the other thing is now. So you said it converts to it takes an attorney, a patent attorney like yourself, to convert that to a utility patent or a design patent, or is it just for utility purposes?
It's like you said, it's for utility purposes, and there's there's the final application that needs to be prepared. There's also a lot of filing documents that need to be prepared along with it, legal documents that need to be submitted with the patent application, so that when it gets to the patent office, they know how to classify it. And there's legal signatures, there's powers of attorney, in some cases there's assignments. And so, again, those documents are generally unfamiliar to people, and getting the documents properly filled out along with the application is also another reason why you should use an attorney, because mistakes in the documents can cost you money. Sometimes they can even cause the application to go abandoned. So, so there is a point where you are going to have to get a professional involved, or you're going to have to spend a lot of time studying the process yourself.
Right, and nobody's trying to go to law school here.
And you would probably recommend that people spend their time marketing their product.
100%.
Right?
Time is money.
You know, yeah.
Time is money.
Yeah.
So I want to go back and ask you about the provisional patent. So does anybody at USPTO open that provisional patent? Is it a placeholder? What is really what's the point to having? And I know you explained it. You know, you have 1 year to make changes. But I mean, so why wouldn't somebody just go ahead and do the design patent or the patent? I know they still have to do the patent search. You said a mild patent search, right, for the provisional?
Right.
I asked you 10,000 questions in one. How's that, Richard? How's that?
Your mind is always going, Lisa.
It's a running. It's a runaway train.
No, that's a whole boatload of stuff, of course. So first of all, you bring a really good point up, and that is when the application is actually filed at the patent office, it's kept as a trade secret, so nobody except you and probably Lisa knows it's there, right? So it's kept as a trade secret. If you don't convert it to a utility application, nobody ever knows that it exists. And so there is a strategy for some inventors who are still continuing the developing process of just refiling the provisional. You can do that, and then you have another year from that time. The problem is if another patent appears after you lose the original filing date, but you get the new filing date if you refile the provisional, but it still all stays secret. And there are risks associated with doing that, but we do have clients that do that who refile the provisional applications as a strategy. So that's a good option. And if you decide that you don't want to go through the patent process, then that's that nobody ever knows about it. So it's kept hidden at the patent office. And some products are better kept as trade secrets. Not everything has to be patented.
That was my next question.
And so, you can file a provisional patent at the patent office, and it's a trade secret, and then you have a year to decide, well, should I file a patent on this, or should I keep it as a trade secret? So if it's a cosmetic formula or herbal formula or vitamin formula or supplements, sometimes those are better kept as trade secrets. And so, but then you can file the patent and you have the option to, convert to a utility later, or just let it go and keep it as a trade secret indefinitely. So.
Okay, thank you for that. And so now, if I filed August 20th, 2020, and now it's August 21st, 2021. So did I lapse? And the other question is, can I renew or file another provisional patent? What happens if it's a day late, or do I file it on the date, refile on the date, on the 20th of next year, 2021?
So if you file it on the 21st, you blew it.
You blew it.
So you blew it.
Okay.
But it's not as bad as it used to be. you can file a petition to revive, which costs another couple $1,000s.
Oh, wow.
And the patent office will, if you file your full application at that point, you pay the fine. They will give you that date of the 20th. And so it is salvageable for 2 months after you miss the date. Now, if you go, exactly 2 months and a day after that, then it's permanently gone. And if you have international patents, you want to pursue those. It also, it really hurts your international portfolio because that date, that filing on that 1 year date allows you to claim priority back to the first application that was filed. And so those dates in the patent world are very, very important because once you start making disclosures, if you don't have patent protection, it can really hurt you. So that's one of the things that we do is we watch those dates very carefully. We go over all the due dates every week with all of our projects in our firm, every single one of them, and we'll start bugging you 2 or 3 months before the date and just ask you, what do you want to do? Do you want to go forward with it? Do you want to drop it? Because sometimes the client won't make a decision until the day it's due.
Of course.
But we'll get it done. And but we'll make sure that whether you do it or not, or follow through or not, you know of that date, and you're making a conscious decision to move forward or to let it go. So that's important.
That's great information. So now you said 2 months before. Can somebody refile 2 months before, or how long or how much time prior to the date of renewal can they do it? Can they do it 2 months in advance, 3 months?
So you can do it anytime you want. Like if we file like a full provisional and everything's there, and then your client talks to Lisa. Lisa says, yeah, the designer's looked at it and it's covered by the patent, it's ready to go. Let's go utility route. You can convert that provisional to a utility anytime within that 1 year period.
Okay.
And that's good because once it gets put in the utility bin, it gets put in the queue to be examined by the examiner. And so the advantage of the provisional is that you have time to make changes and you're still patent pending. The disadvantage is that it will add an extra year to the time that it takes to actually get the granted patent. So, there's pluses and minuses of both. And as you can tell, this is complicated stuff. And it really depends on every situation is different. Every client is different. Everyone has a different strategy and different needs. Sometimes it makes sense to drag out the whole patent process for as long as possible. Sometimes people should get their patents right away. And we know how to accomplish, both things. But it's very much dependent on the invention, the complexity of the invention, whether to file a design or a utility, how fast it should go, how broad the claim should be. And we don't accept every project. So we do the searches. About a third of the projects get knocked out by prior patents. And so we don't file things that we're not very confident will make it through the patent office because our clients are spending a lot of money.
That's right.
And they're building their business around this IP. And it's better to know if it's not going to make it early up front and just take the bad news and move on to something else than it is to spend a lot of time on a project where you don't have strong IP protection, or even worse, somebody else has a patent and they're going to come after you later on down the road after you put in all this work and money. So we're very careful about how we do the searches. We want to make sure that and our success rate is extremely high. The average patent success rate at the patent office is 45%.
That's fantastic.
We're well above 85, 90%.
Oh my gosh.
Rate. So spending the money with good professionals, it doesn't help you to save a couple $1,000 if you're working with somebody who can't get your patent through.
Right.
So it does you no good to spend $8,000 instead of $12,000 if you don't get a patent.
That's right. And I've seen that happen. I've seen, clients come to me all the time. They worked on something. They had spent a lot of money on a patent. They didn't, was not successful or completed. In fact, I've sent people to you and you've turned things around. But I want to add to what you said before. I'm going to let you continue. What you said about, you mentioned not everybody can get a patent, not that part. Oh, I know. You said, all products, ideas are different. And I bring this up because you'll hear, and I'm sure people come to your office and say, well, I heard my friend said, well, they got this kind of a patent and it only took this long and they only had to do this. I love that you brought up the point that every product is different. Every situation is different. Everybody's product is individual and has different moving parts to it. And I'm happy that you said that because it happens a lot in my business where they think that the same process is going to happen with theirs that happened with Mrs. Smith's.
Yeah, and there's a lot of folklore out there about patents too, and so we always give free consultations to anybody who is interested in understanding intellectual property. I think you said it the other day that, Richard, you're a walking NDA.
Yes, you are. You are a walking NDA.
I'm a walking NDA.
You gotta be. I'm definitely. I'm
Ascoli. I've never heard anybody say anything like that. Only Lisa.
Well, I have to be a walking NDA. If you listen, that's what I'm a vault. I said to.
Too serious here, Lisa.
I know.
This is getting out of hand. I'm sounding like a jet airline pilot here. This is not how I am. I'm usually a lot more fun.
I love it. Well, I told Elizabeth I'm a vault. I'm a vault. Nothing gets out. Not a thing. I share nothing with anybody. And all our clients know that. And I say our because a lot of my clients are your clients and vice versa. They know it's not going anywhere. And that's what I think folks, even listening, will appreciate. If you tell us about your product, well, first and foremost, when anybody comes to me, I send them a signed NDA before we even get started. So a non-disclosure agreement for those of you who are not familiar with the acronym, non-disclosure agreement. And we do that because
that trust is so important. And we don't need to sign NDAs with our clients because we have the attorney-client privilege.
Well, right,
but if our client asks us to, we will because we've got no reason not to.
That is the coolest thing.
With your stuff.
Coolest thing ever, Richard. That's the coolest thing ever. I have to tell you, one of my clients came to me the other day. Of course, I introduced her to you, and she said to me, will they sign an NDA? I said, well, they don't really need to, but I'm sure if you asked Richard to do it, he probably would. I literally just said this a couple of days ago because there's no reason not to.
We're not going to do anything goofy with anybody's stuff. And, we've had a great track record. We've never been, had any ethics complaints, knock on wood, complaints to the Bar Association, anything like that. And, we understand that, like lots of times people will come to us before they talk to their spouse about their invention. And people get so, they need somebody to talk to about it. And so, And we love hearing about your ideas and your inventions, and we always treat everybody with, no matter what their idea is, with the same amount of respect, because it's important to them. And
Absolutely, Richard.
They're being creative, and they're expressing themselves through their work. So we will always, always, always be very open and appreciative. And, if I tell my clients, look, if I could pick the winning product every time, I'd be a billionaire.
Yes.
So, right?
Yeah.
There's stuff in Walmart that I go shopping at Walmart. There's stuff there I would never buy, but somebody's buying it because it's in Walmart.
Somebody's
right?
buying it.
I can't. Hey, who am I to judge?
That's right.
My job is to give a client as much support as possible, and to try to help them and help them find people like you who can help them further, and help make their project a reality.
Yes. And it's possible. It's possible. We see it happen every single day. From a napkin idea all the way through the Gearhart Law to USPTO to QVC. We skipped the manufacturing part. That's how fast it can happen. I'm only kidding. I'm just kidding, everybody. It doesn't happen that fast.
There's a lot to know about.
There is.
I see a lot of inventors, and some of them they want to do it on their own, and God bless them. But the fact is that it's harder than it looks, and you really need an expert to help guide you through that process.
You do.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, Lisa, and say that you may have made at least one mistake in your life, right? When it comes to a product. And so people need... I'm sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm trying to remember when that mistake happened. No, only kidding. Absolutely. Yeah. We all make mistakes.
And so have we,
Yes.
But you get the advantage of our experience and the mistakes that we made.
That's right.
We've seen other clients make, and that saves you time. So if you want to commercialize it yourself, great, but it's going to probably take you twice or three times as long, and you're going to go through. It's going to be a lot harder because it's not as easy as it looks, right? And you really need the help of an experienced product expert like Lisa to accelerate the process.
Thank you, Richard, and like you.
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the patents too. I tell people, okay, you can patent it yourself. Let me ask you this question though: Would you build your own house? No.
That's a great analogy, Richard. Great analogy, because it is like building a house. Very, very similar.
So your wife or your husband are good with tools. Would you let them build the house that you live in? No, really not. Now here's the next question: Would you buy a house from somebody who made it themselves and wasn't an experienced contractor? Heck no. Right? And it's the same thing with patents. Yeah, you could do it yourself. It would probably take, maybe it wouldn't take, if you're building a small house, it might take you the same amount of time. But don't you hire a contractor to build a house for you? And then when you buy the house, don't you buy it from somebody who had a contractor build it? Unless you're out in Alaska or something, right? So it's that experience, and it's the same thing with your clients. It's that experience, I think, that makes the project go better. And I'm a real do-it-myselfer on a lot of things. And the older I get, the more I realize it's just better. Okay,
Always.
I can paint the bedroom, but it's going to look like, So, maybe I can find somebody to help me do that.
Yeah, you don't want to lay in bed and see beige paint on your white ceiling. Yeah, definitely not. Leave it to the experts.
When she sees it and she says, "It looks horrible," and I have to listen to that. So,
Exactly. Nothing's worse than that. Do not paint your own house. Do not build your own house, and do not build your own patent. And many of my clients have tried it, and always come back and say, you know what? I don't know what I was thinking. Well, I give you credit for that, credit for trying. I mean, I wouldn't even delve into it at all. I know how much work it is. I know what it takes to do it. I've done my reading and my research, and of course have conversations with you, and it's definitely not something I would want to delve into. And by the time I'm finished doing a patent, I could literally have had it on the market probably 10 times over. So no, definitely go to the experts. When you want something done professionally, go to the experts and have it done. Go to Gearhart Law. And that's what we've left out, Richard. We need to give your website, your phone number, your contact information. How do these inventors who are now chomping at the bit get in touch with you? They're listening, they're going, give us the information. Feels like an infomercial where they talk about the product, but they never gave me a phone number. So go ahead, Richard. How do they get in touch with you?
That would be a serious mistake. It's a good thing that you're an experienced media personality.
That's me.
That is you.
No.
Elizabeth's my wife and partner here at Gearhart Law. We're always talking about how glamorous Lisa is. So
that's great.
She's got the
I
whole
can't
glamour thing.
wait till Phil gets home. Can't wait till Phil gets home to tell him that. My head's not going to be able to fit through the door to open it up to let him in. Thank you, Richard.
The phone number that you've all been waiting for is 908-273-0700. Or you can reach me through Lisa. She knows but I'll give you my email anyway. Mm-hmm. It's rgearhart, rgearhartlaw. It's rgearhart, rgearhart at Gearhart Law, gearhartlaw.com. And we also sue people. So if you are somehow tied up on one side or the other, we have a litigation group. We do contracts. We do LLCs. We do trademarks, copyrights. Anything that the entrepreneur needs on the legal side, we can help with. And we'd love to hear from your listeners, Lisa.
Well, yes, you will.
And,
they're at the edge of their seats right now. I mean, because there's so much more to cover. There is. This isn't even the tip of the iceberg. We covered, we could be on the phone for hours talking about all of the details of how patent and patent law works, and intellectual properties, et cetera, trademarks, copyrights, all of those things. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Richard.
Did you tell your listeners about the time I attended one of your conferences and you made me walk down the aisle to I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt?
Well, listen, it was you hadn't picked your song. You hadn't picked your song for the conference, and I know, every person walks on stage to a song that, is how I see them, right? So if they don't pick it, I pick it for them. I picked that song for you because it was perfect for you. Because you're always too sexy for your shirt, Richard.
Well, I think they should change the lyrics a little bit. Like, my belly is too big for my shirt. But anyway.
No, I think everybody knows that. I keep rewinding that one clip. I recorded it. So it's internationally known.
Oh, no. Well, my brand is ruined already. What can I say?
It just made it better. It enhanced it, Richard. Enhanced the brand. So before we wrap, Richard, I have to ask you 3 questions, okay? Off topic. All right. Number 1, if you were to write a movie, what would the name of the movie be? Your movie.
If I were to write a movie, what would the name of the movie be? Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. I would write the name of the movie would be Climbing That Mountain.
Love it.
That has really been what my life has been about, because I come from, not lower middle class. I can't say I was disadvantaged, but every my life, besides my lovely wife and great kids, has been about taking one step at a time and trying to get better and better at everything that I do. And so that would be the movie. So
That's fantastic. I love that. And there's so much truth to that, Richard. I appreciate that. And yes, Elizabeth, great friend, lovely partner you have. Just blessed. I'm blessed to have both of you and your children in my life. So thank you for that. And it is a climb. It is a climb.
We have a great time at our parties too.
So we're going to have a Zoom party this year, I guess, right?
We're gonna have to do something. We're gonna have to do something.
The whole world's going to want to come to your party. I talk about your parties all the time. So it's typically once it's in November. This is a big holiday party that you have every year, which is always phenomenal.
Right.
I'm going to miss the food. I'm going to miss you guys. I'm going to miss the food. The food is spectacular.
And Lisa walks in like she owns the place, and all eyes turn to her. And we just have a heck of a time, right? So.
Where do I go, Richard? Where do I go as soon as I greet you? We greet each other. We take a glass of champagne because you're always handing out glasses of champagne as all of your guests walk in. And I go to the right.
Yeah.
I go to the boat, right? What boat is that? The big boat on the dining room table. What is that, Richard? The sushi boat.
That's the sushi boat, yeah. That's the 9-foot sushi boat. So
it's the size that you could literally get in it. And I do. I get in it. I get in that sushi boat. They know where to find. Where's Lisa? Sushi boat.
She's rowing that sushi boat.
I'm in the sushi boat. Can't see me. See the top of my head. Okay. The second question, Richard, is if you were so you made a movie. What actor would play you in your movie?
Well,
what actor would you choose?
That's a little unfair because my name is close to Richard Gere.
Yes.
And so even though I look nothing like him, everybody always says, "Oh, Richard Gere."
Yes.
So I guess it would have to be Richard Gere. So
quite apropos.
That would be the actor.
That's fantastic. I love it.
And actually, if you can picture Richard Gere as a patent attorney, you've got a great imagination.
You do. You actually resemble. There's a resemblance.
What's that?
I said there is a slight resemblance there.
Oh, really? Well, thank you.
He should be. Yeah.
I'm learning. I'm working on accepting compliments.
Good.
And so the proper response is thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so now last question. If you were stuck in I don't know why it's a rabbit hole. I don't even know what that looked. Well, I think I know what a rabbit, but I don't know who can fit in a rabbit hole. But these.
Do you ask everybody these questions, or?
It's just you, Richard. But
you picking on me? No, go ahead. Go.
And you could only have one person in this hole with you, or desert. Let's use deserted island. The hole is giving me claustrophobia. So deserted island, indefinitely. Can't be your wife. Can't be a significant other. Can't be a relative.
Oh.
Can't be any of those. Can be a thing. Can be. It's up to you. We're creative here. You can pick anything and anyone outside of your family.
I would say Judge Learned Hand.
Judge Learned Hand?
Yes, he was a famous judge back in the 1800s and wrote some absolutely incredible case law opinions. And I think we'd have some great discussions about the law.
And you could talk about it forever because it's your passion and you love it.
I guess if it had to be number two, I'm not even sure I remember the name of this guy, but there's a guy who started the car company, the electric car company.
Oh, yes.
Super genius.
Uh-huh.
Whatever his name is.
Yes, it's T. I have to go down the alphabet, but I landed on T, and I think that's it.
Yeah, so I think that is, um, was it Musk? Liam, Elon Musk. Yeah.
Elon.
So Elon, yeah, he would be very interesting. I think he could. Of course, if you're out there on a desert island and there's no real entrepreneur opportunities, but I think for me personally, he would be interesting person to talk to and learn from. So,
Well,
so
yeah.
what the heck? There you
Why
go.
not? Why not? Great conversation is key. So you have water. There's coconuts out there that you can go fishing. I'm adding to all of this stuff. Brittany starts with a rabbit hole, and I'm giving you all of the amenities of home.
Yeah, it's sort of like Gilligan's Island, right?
You
Having
make
Elon
some
Musk
friends.
there on Gilligan's Island,
Yes.
making the coconut bicycle and the bamboo hut and all that stuff. He'd be a good guy to invent a lot of stuff like that for me. So,
Well, Richard, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on my show. Please come back again and again and again. This was so much fun, and you gave so much
yeah.
really important information. So I'm sure people will be reaching out to you, reaching out to me, reaching out to us, and yeah. So you.
That's great. And can I just put in, before we go, can I put in a plug for Passage to Profit?
Yes,
too?
please.
Okay, so Elizabeth and I have a radio program / podcast / YouTube channel, and it's called, it's a show for entrepreneurs. It's called Passage to Profit. Lisa is a frequent guest because of her deep knowledge and entertainment skills, not to mention her total glam. And so she's often on Passage to Profit. And we have inventors on. If any of your audience would like to be on the program, they're more than welcome to be. You can find Passage to Profit on Instagram and Twitter. We also have a website, and it's a radio show that airs on WOR 710. It's an iHeart radio station. It airs at 11 p.m. On Sunday nights. And it's a great way to showcase your products when the time is right. We've had many of Lisa's clients have been on, and it's really a lot of fun.
It is.
And we have a great time. We talk about intellectual property and entrepreneurism, and we have a new person now who's appearing on the show. And it's Checkers the cat.
Oh,
Checkers the cat
yay,
is
Checkers!
the radio boss. Yeah, is the radio boss, and she really directs everything that happens on the show.
Doesn't she get dressed up, Richard? Doesn't she get dressed up also? Doesn't Checkers get dressed up now? Or are you putting hats and? Mm-hmm.
And she's an iron paw in a furry fist, right? So she has been the queen of the house for many years, and now she's decided that it's her time in the sun, and she's going to run this radio show. So,
I love it, and she's beautiful, beautiful, easy. You know, when I come to your house, she's just so relaxed, and she's not intimidated by people. She's just a beautiful cat with a wonderful temperament. So she should be ruling the roost at this point.
Well, she does anyway. So so why not let her run the radio show too? So,
yeah, why not?
And she is, and yes, she does like you, and she is very friendly. She has a little bit of a star's temperament sometimes. You know how they can be.
I see that. Yes.
When things are not perfect, but we all try our best to make sure that her needs are met. So.
You better. She's a woman. Richard, you're the best.
we know all about women, or at least as a man, I think I know about women. But
Which
after
means you'll
60
never
I'm
know.
still
Which
learning.
means you never know.
Which means I know nothing
You
about
know
them.
nothing. You know absolutely nothing. Richard, you are the best. I love having you and just love talking with you. And
Thanks for keeping me in line, Lisa. I
you're very
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Anytime, Richard. Anytime. Elizabeth
All right.
appreciates that.
Yeah, I think you guys call each other for husband meetings. or
Some
something.
side
I'm not
advice.
sure what
Oh
it
yeah.
is.
Oh yeah.
She's always a little different after she gets off the phone with you for some reason.
I hope in a good way.
In a good way.
Okay,
In a
good,
way.
good.
So,
All right, Richard. Well, it was a pleasure as always. You have a
yeah.
very, very blessed evening, and thanks again. And we'll talk real soon.
Okay. Thanks,
All right.
Lisa.
You're very welcome. Take care, Richard.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that was amazing. Richard Gearhart, always a pleasure to speak with. He's fun, he's very intelligent, and he can give you insight to every type of patent there is. So please reach out to Richard Gearhart, Gearhart Law, and he'll give you everything you need, all of the information. As he said, it's a free consultation, so take advantage of it and reach out. So everybody, I so appreciate you listening to this podcast every single week. Keep on coming back. If you want to get on my show, please make sure you email me. It's info@inventingatoz.com, info@inventingatoz.com. You can go to my website, inventingatoz.com. And please just remember to lift each other up, your fellow entrepreneurs, fellow inventors, 2 hands at a time. And sometimes you have to use that foot. Until next time,